It's about a week after Black Swan release, and I'm very amazed by how Black Swan performs on the battlefield. The results were higher than my own expectation from my own pre-analysis video. Therefore, right now, I will make a guide and analysis of Black Swan by my own experience through this week. So, welcome to Gangstar Zero channel, and let's get started. So we will start from her main damage and it will be her talent. Unlike other DOT characters, Black Sun DOT is a special one called Arcana. Unlike most DOT, Arcana cannot be removed and permanently inflict the enemy. Arcana will gain stack if the enemy target receives DOT damage. If it is the enemy turn, the Arcana will be exploded and reset to 1. Remember that Arcana cannot be removed. And then, the damage dealt by Arcana is based on Black Swan attack and how many stack do the enemy have. How much stack you have in the enemy will also give additional effects. You can read it on the talent description. In here, when there are 3 or more stacks, Arcana will deal more damage to the enemy and also damage the adjacent target. And then, there is also a chance to inflict 1 stack of Arcana to the adjacent enemy. When there are 7 stacks or more, the current damage dealt by Arcana will be ignored by 20% of enemy death, and it also affect the adjacent target. The damage dealt by Arcana is exceeded my expectations. Okay, next we are going to talk about her skill. Her skill will damage the target and the adjacent target with a 100 base chance to inflict Arcana. Black Swan can also reduce enemy defense for 3 turns to the target and adjacent target. Her ultimate will give an epiphany effect to all enemies for 2 turns. Enemies afflicted with epiphany will take more damage. This epiphany will also make the Arcana not reset after exploding in enemy turns. This reset effect can only be triggered once after explode. And if you want this non-reset effect again, you need to apply Epiphany to the enemies again. Okay, so for the last one is her basic attack. Her basic attack works like other usual character. Her basic attack can also inflict 1 stack of Arcana to the enemy. Additionally, she can also inflict more stack of Arcana based on how many DOT that the enemy have. And then for her first bonus ability, will make her skill inflict Arcana if the enemy has DOT on them. For the second bonus ability, will make the enemy immediately inflicted with 1 Arcana after they enter the battlefield. This bonus ability will also make other characters that give DOT damage to the enemy can inflict 1 stack of Arcana to the enemy. The damage, the maximum stack that can be inflicted is 3 during a single attack. And then for the last one is her last bonus ability will increase her damage up to 72% based on the user evac hit rate. So for the maximum evac hit rate you can give to Black Swan is 120%. If you achieve 120% evac hit rate on Black Swan, it means that you can get this 72% damage bonus. For the next, I'm going to talk about her build. For her relic, you can put 4-piece set prisoners in depth confinement. You can also put a 2-piece set of wind damage boost and 2-piece set of attack percent or speed. For the 2-piece set, you can put a 2-piece set Pan Cosmic Commercial Enterprise if you need more evacuate rate. You can also put in a 2-piece set of Firmament Frontline, but you'll need to pay attention to your Black Swan speed in case if you want to maximize the Firmament Frontline passive set. For the main stat, as you can see from the kit we are talking before, we will gonna need a lot of evacuate rate. So putting an evacuate rate man stats on her body will be the main option for Black Swan. And then for her feet, you can put speed or attack percent. But I preferably put speed on Black Swan because we need a lot of speed to inflict a lot of arcana from Black Swan herself. And then for the planner spell, I will recommendedly for you to put wind damage boost, or maybe if you don't have one, you can put attack percent on planner spare. And then for the link rope, I prefer to put attack percent, but you can also put energy regeneration rate on the link rope. And then for the substats, you can aim for evacuate rate if you don't have enough evacuate rate on your Black Swan. And then for the second substat, you can aim for speed, and the last one you can aim for attack percent. Okay, so right now I'm going to talk about Black Swan Lycon. For our Lycon signature, will be the best in slot for her. As you can see, the Lycon will increase the worst evacuate rate and also increase the attack and the DOT damage. So yes, the signature Lycon will be the best in slot. And for the 4-star Lycon, I think the best in slot for her is Eyes of the Prey. As you can see, this Lycon will increase the wearer's hit evacuate rate and also increase the DOT damage. And in Superimpose 5, as you can see, this Lycon will increase the wear evacuate rate by 40%, and this will help us to reach 120% evacuate rate more easily. And then for the second best Lycon, I think Good Night and Sleep Well, because this weapon will be an all-out offense Lycon. As you can see, the damage dealt by the wearer increased by 24%, stacking up to 3 times in Superimpose 5. I think Good Night and Sleep Well will be the best option of Lycon if you wanted to play all-out offense. And then for the last one, I think is before the tutorial mission starts, or maybe you know this Lycon as Silver Wolf, free-to-play Lycon. It will be easily to Superimpose 5 if you have this Lycon since 1.2, if 1.1 or 1.2, if I remember. Increase the worst evacuate rate by 40%. It's the same like Eyes of the Prey in the Superimpose 5. And yes, remember we will need a lot of evacuate rate on Black Swan, so 40% evacuate rate from the Lycon itself will help us a lot when we build the Relic. And also there is an additional buff where when the wearer's attack defense reduce enemies regenerates egg energy. This additional things will help your Black Swan in the battlefield to also build the ultimate gauge, because yes, Black Swan can reduce defense, and this additional buff will works effectively in the game. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you a simple way to how to play Black Swan, and I will show it in the Memory of Chaos. So remember, before you enter the battlefield, you can use Black Swan technique. It is an enhanced version. So if you change to other character, the technique is not dispelled. Right now I'm going to enter the battlefield. Okay. As you can see, when you entering the battlefield, the enemies is inflicted by an amount of arcana. As you can see, the first enemy have 5 stack of arcana, and the second enemy have 3 stack of arcana. This amount of arcana can be inflicted when you enter the battlefield if you use Black Swan technique before entering the battlefield. So yes, don't forget about that. So right now it's my Black Swan turn. All I need to do for an opening is um, using Black Swan skill, because Black Swan skill can apply defense reduction to the enemy. So yes, as you can see, wait for the enemy to attack. Okay, so right now, because the first enemy already got their turn, so as you can see, the second enemy in here, the enemy right now already have 9 stack of Arcana, increase 4 stack of Arcana than before. So yes, because we use Black Swan skill, we already applied the defense reduction debuff, and also increasing an amount stack of Arcana. So we get 4 stack on the move before. And here, as you can see, there's 1 because the enemies already move, and the Arcana will be exploded and reset to 1, dealing a lot of damage. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you when you trigger a DOT damage on the enemy, the stack will also be increased. Right now I'm going to use Kafka skill. As you can see, the stack of the Arcana is increasing from 9 to 11 after Kafka using her skill. Like this also works for Guinevere ultimate, Luca basic attack, and Sampo Edron 4. Remember that. And so after that, we just go all out. We just go all out attack. As you can see, he's dealing a lot of damage. Yes, so right now, let's see. Maybe because I have a lot of skill point, I can use her skill, and I will use. Maybe I'm wrong, but no problem. I'm going to use her ultimate. As you can see, the stack is not resetting. Okay, the stack is not resetting. So I'm going to show it again. Okay, so let me heal. Okay, so oh yes, Kafka ultimate will also triggering the Arcana. Yes, and if you do not have the reset buff effect again, it means you cannot use the stack will be reset. So okay, remember that. And then for the team lineup, I think for this first lineup will be the best lineup that Black Swan have, but also this will be the most expensive lineup, because you will need 4 different limited character. When for the cheap version, you can change Runmei with Asta, and you can change Wohuo to other sustain character like Lynx or Natasha. And then for the second lineup, you can just put all DOT character like this for Kafka Black Swan, and then you change the Asta to other DOT character. You can put Sampo, you can put Guinevere, or you can put Luca in here, with also 1 sustain character. And then for the third lineup is the lineup where there is no Kafka in it. So if you don't have Kafka, you can put Sampo, and maybe for the other one you can put Guinevere or Luca based on the enemy weakness, and also 1 sustain. And like I mentioned in the before topic on how Arcana works, Sampo Eidolon 4 will make this team even better, because yes, you can revert to how Arcana work and how Sampo Eidolon 4 works with Arcana. So, Black Swan turns out to be a character that can uplift the current DOT character. It makes the DOT lineup specifically for Kafka become a monstrous DPS. And also you can maximize her damage not just coming from offensive stats like attack percent or wind damage boost, but also coming from effect hit rate and speed. Maximizing her effect hit rate until 120% will help her also to inflict Arcana and debuff to the enemy, because the chance to inflict Arcana and inflict debuff to enemy is too low. And then also putting a lot of speed on her will also make her move faster, which means you can also inflict more Arcana from her basic attack at skill. Okay, so for the final part of this video, here are my own review of pros and cons for Black Swan. So for the first point of the pros is she can deal a high DOT burst damage from her Arcana. Yes, as you can see, if you stack a lot of Arcana into a single enemy, the damage coming from this Arcana is very big, and yeah, it will be easily to delete a lot of boss in Memory of Chaos specifically. And then for the second point is the additional defense reduction from her skill. This additional defense reduction, the buff to the enemies, will be a plus point for a Nihility character, because um, you can also debuff an enemy when your character can also deal a lot of enemies. So this defense reduction will also help other DOC character uh, to deal more damage to the enemy. And then for the third point is more enemies, it means that it's more damage. Yes, it's because Arcana can explode and damage the adjacent enemies. And Arcana will also inflict it to enemy when they entering the battle. Yeah, I know there's a chance, but if you already aiming for 120% effective rate, I think there is a bigger chance for the enemies to inflict with Arcana when they're entering the battlefield. And when the Arcana explode, like I mentioned before, it can also inflict Arcana to the adjacent enemies. And then for the last point, I think is her scaling damage along the battlefield is amazing. Like as you can see, if you can consistently put a lot of stack of Arcana to the enemies in a very good rotation, I think the damage from Arcana will be very big. And yes, it will be scaling good along the battlefield, and you can clear the Memory of Chaos floor faster than before. Okay, if there is a process, there is also other things you should thinking about. And for the first point is of the cons is the inconsistent damage if you cannot inflict Arcana to the enemy. I think this is a major problem you need to consider, because if you cannot consistently damage the enemy with the OT, or trigger the OT on the enemy, like triggering with Kafka skill, Queen Knife and Ultimate, Luka basic attack, for example Eidolon 4, I think it will be hard for you to inflict the Arcana to the enemy. And if you cannot inflict Arcana to the enemy, of course the damage output from the Black Swan herself uh, will be very low. And I think this is a major problem if you cannot inflict Arcana to the enemy. And then for the second point is achieving high evac hit rate could be a minor problem. I think this was a minor problem because I know a lot of players have different luck on Relic, so maybe some people will occur a minor problem when they wanted to reach like 100% evac hit rate, 111, 120% evac rate. I think some players will find it as a minor problem. And then for the third point is like Kafka, you need other DOT character to maximize the individual potential. I think this is a minor problem because if you already have Kafka before, I think you do not need to build anything, because like we know, it means if you already pull Kafka, you already also build another DOT character. But if you are a new player and you haven't built other DOT characters, it means that you need to spend more of your money, or spend more of your time to other DOT characters too. And I think this is also a minor problems to consider if you haven't invest in any other GOT character. And then for the last point is the burst damage only come from Arcana explodes, which means enemy speed or turns will affect the output damage. I think this is also a minor problem to consider because maybe sometimes this could be happen in a memory of chaos. Remember, DOT, most DOT, and it also works in Arcana, is the damage is coming when the most damage will be coming when it's the enemy turns. And maybe if I know if you can maybe clear the memory of chaos in 20x cycle, but because the enemies got turned down, I mean maybe the enemies got brick and then the, they will going down from 20x cycle to 27 cycle. I think yes, the damage coming from the DOT will be also delayed by this delayed action. So yes, I think this is a minor problem, and I think you need to consider it. So well, we are coming to the final part of this video. I know maybe my pros and cons is coming not from a lot of data. I think this is just my own experience for the pros and cons. And overall, I think Black Swan is recommended character for you to pull, especially if you already built a DOT team before. And if you don't have Kafka on your account, it doesn't mean you cannot play with Black Swan. Moreover, it all come to your choice whether to pull this character or not. And then for my final word, leave a like if you like this guide, and you can subscribe to this channel if you want another Honkai tutorial and other gacha games content. And I will see you guys on the other video.